this is Renee with AutoNet, and today I want to make this one quick. I just want to show how you can do some very simple routing inside of your ArcGIS Online developer subscription. Right, so we've got here a really simple map of some work orders. Now, I don't know what these are. I just found these by searching for work orders in ArcGIS Online, so it's not really a data set I'm familiar with. However, if I look at one of these points, for example, I can see that has a field called work order status. All right, so we have stuff in progress, and we got stuff that's, I'm guessing, unassigned. Some green ones I'm going to say are completed, right? And yellow, I'm going to go ahead and say are assigned. Ah, awesome, I was right. Ha. Okay, so let's go and filter these out. Let's filter these out by ones that are assigned. So work order status is assigned. So we're going to apply that filter. Alright, so I simplified it down there. So that gives us how many total? Looks like we got 12 features total altogether. Awesome. Okay, next step we're going to do is hit the analysis button here. And we're going to get these set of analysis tools that some of these we've gone over before, some of these we haven't. So let's look at the use proximity tool. Alright, so now if we're looking at the use proximity tool, you see we got some couple different options we can do here. We can create buffers, we can create drive time areas, find nearest, plan routes, or connect origins to destination. So let's imagine here for a second that I've got all these work orders planned out. I am I run a local business, and maybe these are my customers I've called in, and I've got to plan out how I'm going to manage doing all the work at these particular locations. So I need to plan out a route, say for my office. Let me just adjust the map here a little bit. If I click on the information button for plan routes, and again, remember, anytime you're curious as to what one of these tools do, if you click on the information button, you'll get a very nice description to tell you how these tools work. So as you see here, this tool is perfect for me because this tool is going to plan work for a mobile team of inspectors, appraisers, in-home support service providers, and others. It's route planning for field work. I could be a plumber. I could be a utility company that needs to go out and inspect transformers. There's multiple things reasons that I may want to do this particular task. So that all looks good. So let's click on the plan routes. Now we have a lot of options here. There's a lot of stuff that we could do. So let's just start from step one. And again, if you have a question about what one of these options are, you can just click on the information icon to get a very simple little description of what the option is going to be. So in my case, I have a layer. It's called work order new. That's the layer I'm working off of. And I've already got it filtered to work orders that are assigned. So these are ones that are assigned to someone. Again, we'll assume they're assigned to me because I'm running my own business for whatever reason here. And I need to go out and do work here. Now I need to have travel modes. So I'm assuming I am going to be driving and not walking to these locations. If this were, if I had a trucking business and maybe I need to plan out routes where I'm going to be doing deliveries between multiple states, I can do trucking time. We got this rural driving time here, and I'm not familiar with this one, but I would just stick with regular driving time. All right, so routes begin at. All right, so I could pick out a layer that has a point where they begin at, or I can click this little button here and then click somewhere on the map. Now, let's assume that my business headquarters is up here in this location. All right, perfect. So I'm out here and I'm going to be servicing this area down over here. Right, so now I'm going to pick a start time for my routes. Now let's assume today's Tuesday. Let's assume I'm going to go on Wednesday, and I'm going to start my morning fairly early. I'm going to start at, say, 7:45 a.m. Of course, anytime you plan someone to come to your house to do some work, it's between the hours of 8 and 5 p.m. They show up by 6 p.m. So those guys are not doing any, possibly not doing any sort of routing, or you just happen to be very unfortunate to be the last person on their route on the way home, which always happens to me. So, and again, I also want to plan out my return to start. So my route's going to end where it started. basically mean I need to drop my vehicle or whatever it is back off at the office where I took it from. You could change this to say if you have a worker that takes the vehicles home, and they need to just come to the office when they start their day type of thing. You can make all kinds of adjustments however you want to do that. Now, maximum number of vehicles to route. Okay, here, so I could have more than one vehicle doing my route, right? If we look at the information here, you can find a solution to use fewer vehicles, number to specify here, depending on the total number of stops, or more, however you want to do. So this is kind of gives you an idea of how many vehicles you might need, and we'll see why you might want to do that in a second. So I'm going to say I have one vehicle. That's the most I've got, and the maximum number of stops, right? So it's telling me right here that this layer currently has 12 stops. So I'm going to go and set this to 12. Now, if I needed to plan this out, we're saying the maximum number of stops is 4 stops, and we'll assume that that should take 3 days worth of work. And you can start playing with the numbers and say, try 6 stops, see what it's going to look like. And again, you'll see why you might want to adjust these two numbers with your analysis after you do it in a second when we do ours. So time spent at each stop. Now let's say the average time it takes me to do the work at each of these locations is 45 minutes. Okay, and you can even get down to seconds here, right? Maybe that might be a little bit too detailed for most work. I'm going to go and stick with 45 minutes and not worry about any seconds here for this particular case. Now, limit the total route time per vehicle. Now, for my case, I don't want to work more than 8 hours in the day. If I don't have to, if I'm driving around all day long, you could raise this up to 12 hours if you're going to be working hard. But again, I'm starting at 7:45 in the morning. I'm going to assume people do not want me showing up at their house at 8 o'clock at night. So I'm not going to set a 12-hour a day here. I'm going to set it for 8 hours so that you show up at someone's location within a reasonable time. So that's also something to take into consideration when you're working with this. And then you can just give a new name to the result layer name, and I'll be using the map extent as well. And if I'm curious what the credits are going to cost me, again, because I'm doing routing and I'm going to do credits, 1 credit to do this route. Regardless of the number of stops, it's just 1 credit. So let's go and run this analysis and we'll see what we come up with. Alright, so our route's all done. And as you can see here, we got this warning message. So the warning says, some stops were not assigned to any routes. Check the violated constraints field in the output unassigned stops layer for more information. What does that mean? Well, I don't know. Let's look. So we'll click OK here. And on that, visually we can see already something was a little weird here. We got these 2 red locations that are not part of the route here. So what happened with these? Let's go and open the table for this unassigned routes. Validated constraints. Maximum total time exceeded. Now remember, we said that we're only going to work an 8-hour shift for doing all of these 12 routes. Well, within that 8 hours, there was no way to complete these 2 routes if they were going to, or these 2 locations, if they were going to take 45 minutes each to complete. So again, you can see here, this will help you out to plan out your day, so you know if you have roughly how much time it's going to take to work at each location, and then you can route it out to figure out how long it's going to take you to get to each location. You'll know if you can actually finish every task that at the location you have for that day. So this will let you go ahead and say, you know what, I'm gonna have to move these 2 locations to the following day, or maybe split up the entire set of tasks in half or something. Some sort of planning that you can do. So if we just turn off the actual work orders themselves, and we'll look at this one here. So status not reached, we exceeded the time of this one. Let's look at these here. So look at the first one here. So it's going to give me service time, what the route was. So it's route 1. It's number 2 in the sequence. The travel time here is 8.5 minutes. Travel distance from previous stop. So from the first location it was about 4 miles. Travel distance from previous stop, kilometers. So we got kilometers here. Arrival, because it's going to give us our arrival time, and it's going to give us our estimated departure time, assuming that the 45-minute estimate was correct. So you can go ahead and plan out your day, plan out your routes as needed. And if we look at one of these other ones here, let's look at one in the middle, maybe like number 8, right? Again, so it tells us time we're going to get there, expected time to leave. Um, so that really helps us to plan out how the day is going to go. So that's how you can do some very basic routing inside of ArcGIS Online. You could save this layer, reuse it later on, rerun the routes with some new estimates and stuff if needed, and play around with your analysis. And that's routing. Thank you.